예, 지금 제 옆에는 하틴코리아 대표이사이신 김흥태 대표님 나와 있습니다. 인사 말씀 먼저 드리겠습니다.
안녕하십니까. 하틴코리아 대표 김흥태입니다. 먼저 오늘 그 온라인으로 하는 데이터 센터 세미나에 많은 분들이 참석해 주셔서 감사를 드립니다. 오늘은 주제가 좀 특별히 그동안 저희가 했던 거가 좀 다른 그 데이터 센터라는 주제인데요. 그래서 기존 고객들 외에도 새로운 분들이 좀 참석을 해서 여러분들 이미 또 아시는 분들은 뭐 다 아시겠지만 잠시 회사 소개를 드리려고 합니다. 하팅은 1945년에 설립되어 지금 금년에 이제 79년째가 되고요. 곧 80년이 되는 독일에 본사를 둔 다국적 기업입니다. 특히 그 중공업 분야에서 커넥터에 대한 솔루션은 세계 최고의 자리에 있는 기업입니다. 그리고 하팅코리아는 1998년에 독일 하팅사의 100% 투자에 의해서 설립된 현지 법인으로서 국내에서 영업 활동을 하고 또 공식적인 몇 개의 대리점도 두고 있습니다. 저희 하팅코리아는 금년에 25주년이 되는 아주 의미 있는 해입니다. 지금까지 도와주신 많은 고객분들께 다시 한번 이 자리를 빌어 감사 인사를 드립니다. 저희가 주로 하는 시장은 그 머시너리와 로봇 시장, 그 다음에 철도 산업과 조선 해양 분야, 그 다음에 공장 자동화, 에너지 분야, 특히 에너지 분야에서는 최근에 여러 그 활동들이 많은데요. 그 에너지 스토리지 시스템 분야, 전력 관련, 전송 장비, 또 분배 장치, 그리고 전기 자동차, 풍력, 태양열, 요즘은 또 나가 수소 연료까지 그 커넥터 솔루션을 제공하고 있습니다. 그리고 오늘 저희가 지금 하는 데이터 센터는 글로벌 차원에서도 한국이 상당히 그 많은 유리한 점을 가지고 있는 사업 분야입니다. 국내 거대 기업인 네이버나 카카오 외에도 국내 대기업들이 자체 데이터 센터를 운영을 하고 있고요. 최근에 그 뭐 관련 좀 여러 소식들이 있어서 잘 알고 계실 텐데요. 또 그뿐 아니라 세계적인 그 다국적 IT 기업들도 한국의 여러 가지 지형적인 안정성, 그러니까 한국에 뭐 지진이나 이런 부분이 없고 또 공간 비용, 즉 이제 그 땅을 많은 그 공간이 필요한데 그 스페이스 값도 상대적으로 경쟁력이 있어서 많은 다국적 기업들이 한국의 데이터 센터를 이미 건립했거나 또는 건립할 그런 계획을 가지고 있습니다. 그래서 뭐 제가 특정하게 회사 이름은 말씀드리지 않겠지만 이미 하팅 제품은 그 기업의 파워 쪽, 파워 디스트리뷰션 유닛이나 시그널 쪽에 이미 인증을 받아서 제품을 공급하고 있습니다. 그래서 그러한 레퍼런스를 가지고 이제 국내 IT 기업들에게도 저희가 어떤 솔루션을 제공하고 또 비즈니스를 하려고 상당히 많은 노력을 드리고 있는 중이고요. 그런 차원에서 오늘 여러분들을 모시고 그 독일의 전문가께서 이제 또 설명도 하고 관련 제품도 소개를 하려고 합니다. 하여튼 이 분야는 새로 그 앞으로 굉장히 성장세가 큰 시장이고요. 그래서 관련 있는 고객분들이나 또는 이 분야에 관심이 있는 분들은 언제든 저희와 함께 연락을 주시면 의논해서 고객으로서 또 우리 파트너사로서 함께 뭐 어떤 대리점 관계든 파트너 관계든 해서 같이 비즈니스를 좀 개척해 나가고 싶습니다. 하여튼 모쪼록 여러분들 오늘 그 1시간 소중한 시간 잘 활용해서 내용을 잘 들어주시고요. 또 여러분들의 많은 관심과 연락을 기대합니다. 네, 감사합니다.
네, 그리고 저희 본사인 독일에서는 인더스트리 세그먼트 매니저인 안드라스 메사루스 씨가 나와 있습니다. Let me introduce you, Mr. Andras Mesaros.
Thank you very much. Yes, thanks for the nice introduction. So as much as I could hear from it. It's already announced that we will talk about the data center environment, about the special solutions, what Harting can offer in this segment. So let me start with my presentation. Let's go from the customer point of view. Of course, this is always the best approach to understand what kind of needs are there on the market, and also to understand what kind of trends we have today. Of course, the huge environment of data centers globally is already probably known for everybody once we use our social media apps, or once we saved our cloud files somewhere. But to underline this robustness of the data centers, I would like to point out what you can also see on the screen is that data centers are consuming today 3% of the world's electricity alone themselves, and 2% of the carbon emissions they are actually responsible for, and it's so huge as the entire airline industry. So what does it mean? If we hear a lot in the news, we hear a lot in different sources that the airline industry should do something, and we shouldn't fly sometimes planes for short distances. So this is a very high topic. And all those CO2 emissions, which we are talking about in the airlines and their industry, they are actually less than the data centers are providing. And that means all over the world, the data center operators, our customers, are very keen to do something to reduce the carbon emissions. How this is possible? So before go to the ways how this is possible, we can also understand, for example, what Google says and what is the goal. Yeah, so we are in 2023 today, and by 2030, so six and a half years, let me say, they would like to be the first huge major company who is operating 24/7 on carbon-free energy. So we can see how the world is changing and how big and hard task there is also for the data center operators. So we as a solution supplier, we as a connectivity supplier, of course, understand our customer needs, and of course, we would like to help them. A little bit, which you can see on this slide as well, some different scopes where the CO2 footprint is coming from in a data center. So you can see scope 1, scope 2, scope 3. Without going into the very deep explanation of this one, I can say that, and you can also see that 80% of this carbon footprint, which I was talking about, is coming from indirect operations. Means from building a data center, from transporting products to the data center, to operate the supply chain, the value chain, actually the supply chain for the data centers. And here we find our mission in Harting as well, of course, to reduce our CO2, because in that way we can also reduce the data center CO2 footprint. How would we want to do? Just some words in Harting about this one. And this will also connect to the further points of how we create our product and what kind of products and solutions we would like to offer, is that of course, we have to be more efficient. And this goes a lot into the direction of the power transmission, because we provide a link with a connector and a cable to transfer the power for the data centers as well, of course, for many, many other industries. So how can we reduce the power transmission effect is that we are always having more and more research on our connectivity technologies that we can reduce the resistance in the connector. And that means we can save power in that way. And also very important aspect is how to reduce the weight of our product, because then in that case, the transportation effect of our product will also be less on the CO2 emissions. And the other thing where we are very active as Harting is the renewable energies. We are working, for example, as Mr. Kim mentioned, with energy storage systems. So in that indirect way, but we are also serving that area. And the third very important is, of course, how to recycle, reuse our connectors. With the big hyperscale operators, we have this agreement that once our products, after the very, very, very long life cycle, will have to be reused, of course, or recycled. When we look at the operational expenses of the data centers, of course, the question, first of all, why we look at it now. And it's very clear that if you take a look at the yellow part of this graphic, it's the electricity cost. So means if you are running a data center, 56% roughly, your cost will be electricity. And in this case, it's a huge impact. Any impact on using and reducing electricity will reduce the operational costs of the data center. So, and that, of course, connects to the one which I was talking about, how to reach the climate targets, how to reduce the carbon. So energy efficiency is, of course, already a very crucial part of the data centers today. And just to emphasize, power is one of the key factors to manage a data center today. And coming back a little bit, what will happen in the future to data centers? I said 3% of the world electricity, so by 2030, it will go up even to 9%. So that's huge. So what the data center operators can do in this case, and what we can do, of course, they have several KPIs, of course, many of them to run a data center, but one of them in this regard is the power usage efficiency. This is actually one of the most important KPI in the data center operation. There are, of course, critiques whether this KPI is good or not good, but we cannot say that anybody can avoid in a data center world not to talk about power usage efficiency. So basically, it's comparing the electricity usage of the whole data center with the electricity usage of the IT equipment. And every one of the data center operators are striving to reduce this power usage efficiency, so the PUE number, and they implement, of course, every time new technologies. Just a little bit of explanation, not too much. PUE is very inefficient. So it means there is an inefficiency if the number is high. You can see on the graph from 2006 to 2020, and of course, this is continuing today, that this could be reduced a lot. Means more efficiency was gained on the power in the data centers up to 2014-15. They optimized the big systems like the whole cooling system, for example, or many big systems. Of course, the energy incoming systems to reduce the PUE. But then after 2016, this progress is stopped. So what we see here is all the data centers, actually in the world and what happens globally. And now we can see that it somehow stops. So we cannot reduce really anymore. Of course, if you build a new data center with all the new technologies, it will be better than, for example, this 1.5. But globally, all over, it's very hard to reduce. So here comes again a very important task of the suppliers of the data center environment. And here we have a lot of talks with the data center operators as Harting, that what can we do? But before I tell you what we are actually can do and we are doing, I would like to show you an overview of a data center in regards of the power distribution. So this is kind of many information at the moment on the screen, but it's pretty straightforward as far as I think. So from the left side, if you start, you have the low voltage generators, or you have the utility power, also the high voltage, medium voltage. Generators, just in brackets, let us call it backup power for the data center. Data centers always need a backup power. Otherwise, there is an outage of social media and a huge money is lost. So now you can see from the utility side, the switch gears, the transformers. Of course, we have to go to the low voltage level. We have to feed the lighting systems, for example, or the cooling systems. And at the other side, on the top, you have the UPS, for example, which is again a security for the power, more of the UPSs. And then this is the facility side, where you will actually reach to a point where you will have connection points of the power. The connection points will be connected later on to the IT environment, the IT racks. Yeah. So what we see here is nothing else but the different philosophies, how the system suppliers who are coming to the scope of building a data center can connect the servers with the power. One of the philosophy, for example, is this one, that you have connectors somewhere in between. So you have the cables right in, and then you have the connection in between. In some other philosophies, and this is very common, you have a local power unit, and then from this local power unit, you can distribute your power. Every small yellow, which you see there, is a connector in this case. And there is also a very common approach, I will talk about a little bit more about this one as well, is a bus trunking system. So you have bus bars basically on top, and then you are coming down with the cables and connectors. And all of these will connect to something called a rack PDU. Let's make it simple. You have the rack, and you have to have a power distribution unit inside the rack as well. This is a rack PDU. This will distribute the power for every server. I would like to show you some application examples. One of them is the busways, bus bars, which I was just mentioning. And here you can already see a nice example of Harting connectors attached to the busways. And once you have these entry points, as I mentioned on the top, then you will have a very easily connectable plug-and-play solution down to the rack cabinets, as I'm also showing on this graph. So important is that once you are on the site, you have to build up a data center as fast as possible. Of course, this is highly important in the way of commercial operation. The need for data is just growing. That's not a question. It's not going to stop. Just think about artificial intelligence, or just think about 5G technologies and whatever will come in the future. We need more data. So once it's built, it has to be fast. It has to the uptime of a data center has to be very fast. So let me also underline at this point already that if you have a pre-tested cable assembly, cable harness that feeds the power to the racks below, in this case, it is speeding up, of course, the on-site installation, and it's also making it much safer for installing. But let us see the other example is the one I was talking about, the PDU connectivity. So you have again here cable and connector, and the connectivity is here for the power distribution units, as mentioned, inside the server racks. But before I'm talking further on about different applications and approaches from us and why they are useful, of course, this is the goal of this webinar. Let us see two videos from our customer to your attention.
I'm Jesse Hands. I'm in charge of Experience Centers for North America. The Schneider Electric Innovation Hub here in O'Fallon, Missouri has over 100,000 square feet of various labs, from distributed IT to data center to other collaborative spaces, all designed with the customer in mind. They're looking for help with their distributed IT environments, maybe building a new data center or modernizing an existing data center. We partner with Harding to deliver innovative solutions such as our critical power systems, cooling solutions, rack systems and edge environments, and even prefabricated data center modules to over 6,000 customers globally each year.
I'm James Cummer. I'm a product manager for our rack systems products. Power strip, oftentimes called rack PDU, it provides power to connected devices. The particular challenge that our customer had was from a supply chain standpoint. They operate data centers all over the globe. So in each one of those locations they're operating within different power voltage ranges and things of that sort. So it ultimately led them that each one of their rack configurations using a standard PDU required a different part number for each one. So you look at 5 regions maybe that they're manufacturing or they're operating within, they have 5 different part numbers. They really wanted to get that down, simplify the supply chain. When you look at a cloud and service provider, they're working with thousands and thousands of racks. So for them, deployment, if they can take and look at taking out maybe some of the inefficiencies, it can be a huge cost savings for them. So they wanted a universal PDU. A key piece of the technology for us was the Han Eco connector, is the universal PDU connector that we were using as a part of the design. Essentially allowed us there to build out a PDU infrastructure that operated within a range of amperages, voltages, for a very simple plug-and-play PDU connector. When they deploy and they're ready to power up, they can connect that into the PDU and they'd be up and running in a real simple plug-and-play solution.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much for watching the video. And I'm coming back to my slides. Just to a little bit summarize what you have seen. You have seen 2 very important engineers in the US working on the data centers for huge customers, of course, like Microsoft, for example. And these Schneider guys were talking a little bit about how Harting can help them already, and how Harting at the end can help the end customers solving problems. One of the problematics which he was mentioning, the second gentleman, is that how to create standardized solutions in the data centers. So this is also very important. As you can already imagine, the huge environment, and it was also mentioned in the videos. This can be served with reliable products which are, of course, standard all over the world. And this connectivity is helping a lot. because you can standardize your operation with the same footprints, with the same kind of connectivity. You can, of course, have a data center from, for example, from local or global customers in Korea, and everything is coming plug and play with a standardized connector. Just a little bit, you can already read in between, just a little bit about what are the benefits. And we took the comparison of a solution which is not very common anymore, but is the kind of normal plugs which were used in the data centers. One of them is the CE plug. You can see on the picture the footprint, yeah, the difference of the footprints. The left one is a Han Eco connector from us. Over that, it has many other, of course, benefits in this comparison. Just to mention one very important aspect. So our connectors are modular. It means we have modules which we can variously introduce into our connectors. It means it's always the footprint, and the connector itself is itself standard, but you can also customize this standard connector with using different kind of modules. The gentleman also mentioned about different amperes and volts in the different regions. So it's very easy to change it out to customize to the needs. And yeah, the termination techniques, probably it's also interesting. We have different ones. So we have screw, we have crimp, we have axial screw, cage clamp. These are very reliable connection technologies for the pins inside the connector modules. Just a second, then I'm going ahead. So the application examples a little bit. So this is another philosophy. What we are talking about is always now, we are inside the rack now, and we have the different power distribution modules. I was talking about the rack PDU, but there is another solutions, which is actually horizontal. It has the same job to do like a PDU, but it's called a power shelf. And Harting has, of course, a solution also for the power shelves. One of the solutions you can see on the screen, the special connector on the left side, which is providing the power for the power shelf. This connector is an Open Compute project standard connector. Just a little bit about Open Compute Project, or OCP. It's a worldwide alliance of OEMs and data center operators, where they actually provide free design, open design, like from the software world, for data centers to be very efficient, not to let everybody doing differently, let everybody do if they want on the same way, and this saves a lot of effort and cost and design. And this is an OCP ready Harting connector, which you can see now. Just briefly, the benefits about them. It's the size I was talking about, how to help with the size of products. Up to 50% less space is reached with this connector, and Harting is very proud to develop this ORB-free connector for OCP. Yeah, reduction of complexity. That's what I was talking about. Fast configuration also mentioned for you. And yeah, even the installation can be very, very flexible because of the termination technologies also mentioned. But just one more thing, we can have the PCB connectivity in these connectors as well. going a little bit further on. So now you have an idea about some connectors, which we have, why we have them, how we help our customers with them, how we can help you as a future customer as well. And then a little bit more about the cable harnesses. So we have as Harting an HCS department, which is providing the developers and planners a solution where they don't have to work anymore on site with time-consuming cabling, cable connections. So previously, it was like you have all the components with the cables in between, and then you have the workers on site, and they will do it manually. They will match the different power cables to each other, the different strips of the cable to the connector, and so on and so on. And then there is coming the operation, and then is a test for this. So what we can do is we can pre-wire everything. And the whole solution is transported, pre-wired on the spot. It's really just plugging in, and then also pre-tested, as I mentioned. So this is a plug-and-play solution. It's very nice for a quick operation. Just a little bit more about energy saving when I'm reaching to the end of my presentation. We made a study in an independent laboratory to compare our contact resistance with some more, as I mentioned to you, common solutions like the CE plug. And let's take the Han Eco connector from Harting and compare the resistance between the two. Not surprisingly, because of using the advanced materials and technology what we have, we had the lower contact resistance than the CE plugs. But what does it mean? It means you have fewer losses inside the connector, so a less voltage drop at the contact points. And then it means the connector itself is saving energy for you. So no loss of big energy, no big loss of power. That means energy saving at the end of the day. It's also nice. It's a very nice feature, of course, but we wanted to know how much we can save. And a result we can see on the screen. So we can save up to 49 or 50%, let me say, energy inside the connector. So this much we can reduce the loss in the electrical connection to the racks. What does this mean? We wanted to, calculate something. We wanted to see what that would mean. If we take a bigger hyperscale, or a little bit in between hyperscale and normal size data center, let us say we have 15,000 rack in that one. So if we take a 63 ampere connector as an example, and we say 2 connectors per rack, so 30,000 sets, 30,000 connector sets. In this case, the operational savings, so the OPEX saving on the electricity expenses will be, as I mentioned, almost 50%. And in a case of a European calculation, because the electricity prices are always different, adding to that this calculation was done with old electricity prices before any kind of global problem with electricity prices came. So it's a conservative calculation today. We can see that to some of our comparison connectors, for example, the CE2 connectors, we can roughly save yearly to this kind of data center almost 100,000 euro cost in electricity just with the connector and with the voltage drop and with the less losses. So this is a number which is, of course, very good. And this can be even optimized, of course, further on. This counts a lot with every operator in the data center area. So what I was talking today about, and what I was wanted to tell you today, is that it's very important for us as a supplier, as a key supplier to data centers, that we help our customers to get online faster. You saw the examples how. We would like to help them to maximize the IT space, having smaller product, and be energy efficient. As you saw in the beginning of my speech, this is a huge problem which has to be solved in a short time frame, so every help counts, and energy efficiency and CO2 reduction is a key point to be a reliable, future-proof supplier of connectors in the data centers. Thank you so much for your attention, and I came to the end of my part. Thank you very much.
지금부터는 질의응답 Q&A 시간을 갖겠습니다. 질문은 그 사전에 접수된 질문들하고 실시간 채팅창을 통해 접수된 질문들 중에서 저희가 선별을 해서 질문을 선별해서 진행하도록 하겠고, 그 혹시 이제 실시간으로 저희가 다루지 못하는 질문들이 생길 수가 있는데, 이런 질문들에 대해서는 이메일을 통해서 차후에 저희가 답변을 꼭 드릴 수 있도록 하겠습니다. 네, 일단 그 첫 번째 질문으로는 그 데이터 센터 관련해서 그 하팅 제품, 하팅의 실제 적용 사례, 실적용 사례를 그 우리가 알 수가 있을지에 대한 문의입니다. 이 질문을 저희 본사의 안드라스 씨한테 전달을 해보도록 하겠습니다. Hey, Andras. So, can you tell us or can you show us Hating's application example in data center area? Do we have any success story?
Yeah, thank you so much. Yes, one of the success stories which can be, I would go with one of the big customers, of course, is our customer is Microsoft globally, and we are supplying all the power distribution solutions in a way of connectivity to Microsoft since a couple of years already. And this proves that of course, globally, we can be everywhere supplying and helping these customers. So what I wanted to say is that Harting is there in more than 30 locations globally, and this helped a lot. But interestingly, just a little story, when we started with Microsoft, of course, we went through many aspects that, like the one of a universal solution. Of course, we were talking about, and many other things. You can imagine Microsoft has of course nice and high expectations of how to work with them. But one of the very interesting part was that they said, okay, everything is proved, everything is tested, we can work together. But before we work together, we have to do one final test. Okay, let's see what that could be. And then we went together. Our colleagues went together to them, to their existing area of operation of a data center, and they took the Harting connector with the cable and they started to drop it on the ground. And we said, okay, is it really something, or is it really something which is in this way? And they said, yes, of course, because we had a lot of problems. We spent a lot of money on less robust connectors than yours, and they were just breaking through transport. So we wanted to try out in reality, how is your performing? Yeah, we've been performing very well. So yeah, coming back to the question, for example, Microsoft is a huge success story, of course, for Harting as a supplier, because we globally supplying them in every location now.
Thank you. Thank you, Andres. 네. 다음 질문을 이어가겠습니다. 두 번째 질문은 하팅 제품 중에 한 에코하고 한 모듈러가 어떤 차이가 있는지를 설명해 주세요라는 질문인데, 이거는 여기 하팅 코리아에서 제가 답변을 드릴 수 있도록 하겠습니다. 질문을 다시 한번 말씀드리자면, 하팅 제품 중에서 한 에코하고 한 모듈러가 어떤 차이가 있는 제품인가에 대한 질문이고, 이제 답변을 드리자면, 하팅이 특히 이 데이터 센터와 마이크로소프트에 제안한 그리고 실제 적용하고 있는 솔루션이 그 한 에코라는 커넥터 시스템인데, 이 한 에코 이 커넥터는 특히 이 데이터 센터 영역에서 좀 좋은 그 장점을 좀 가지고 있는 부분이 있습니다. 이를테면 한 에코는 재질이 플라스틱이기 때문에 무게가 상대적으로 더 가볍고, 그리고 그 비용도 이제 여타 메탈 재질의 커넥터 제품 시스템들보다 상대적으로 저렴할 수 있습니다. 그리고 구조적으로는 우리 한 모듈러 커넥터하고 같이 사용이 될 때 다른 스탠다드 그 후드 하우징, 다른 커넥터 시스템의 후드 하우징 대비 한 모듈을 한 개를 더 사용을 할 수 있습니다. 공간적으로 모듈 한 개에 대한 그 여유가 생기게 되는 거죠. 그리고 그 구조적으로 봤을 때는 그 힌지드 프레임이라고 그 후드 하우징에 한 모듈러를 고정시켜주는 힌지드 프레임이라는 부품이 있는데, 한 에코는 커넥터 시스템 자체적으로 이 고정형 프레임을 자체적으로 가지고 있기 때문에 힌지드 프레임에 대한 부품 가짓수가 이제 하나가 줄어들게 되는 겁니다. 힌지드 프레임을 사용하지 않아도 되니까. 그렇게 좀 답변을 제가 드리도록 하겠습니다. 그리고 다음 질문이 먼저 질문을 말씀을 드리자면, PDC용, 그러니까 파워 디스트리뷰션 센터용 그 WHIP, 휩 케이블이라는 말을 이 데이터 센터 영역 마켓에서 종종 사용을 하는데, 이게 정확히 어떤 의미를 가지고 있는 말이고 어떤 케이블인지에 대해서 설명을 해줄 수 있냐라는 질문이 접수가 됐습니다. 이 질문은 저희 본사 안드라스 씨한테 전달을 해보도록 하겠습니다. 안드라스?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I believe I would like to ask this question to you. So the question is this: in the data center area, in the data center world, I have heard the term WHIP, whip cable for PDC. PDC is power distribution cabinet. So can you give us some explanation about what exactly those terms and words means?
Yes, gladly, of course. But before I do that, I just heard also from the first question, which came to me. Instead, also not only success story, but also examples of applications. So let me also come back to a little bit to that one. What kind of applications? We've shown a lot of applications today for the power environment. What I would kindly mention is that we also have other application areas where we can help our customers in the data center environment. So one of them is, for example, lighting systems, where we have advanced connectivity solutions for them. Also, we have the building management systems. So huge variety of connectors, for example, N12 and so on. And also in the area of cooling. So the cooling coils and fans, there we also find our connectors. And as you also saw in the short video at the end of my presentation, we have also data cables. So very new and innovative data cables we have as well. So thanks for the opportunity to extend. And also to coming back to your questions, I remember it was the whip cables and the connection between the power distribution unit. So whip cable is actually is a cable harness which is establishing a safe connection, a reliable connection between the power distribution cabinet and the data racks. So this is a male part of the cable harness, and then inside the racks you have the PDU, so you have the female part. So the whip cable is coming from the power distribution cabinet down to the servers and make the connection there.
Alright, thank you. 네, 그리고 다음 네 번째 질문으로는 좀 간단할 수도 있는 질문이네요. 질문이 하팅에서 데이터 센터에 사용할 수 있는 데이터 센터에 사용할 수 있도록 그 케이블 하네스도 지원을 하는지에 대해서 질문이 들어왔습니다. 역시 저희 안드라스 씨에게 질문을 넘겨보도록 하겠습니다. Andras, question number 4 is this. So does Hating we also support the cable harness for the data center market?
Yes. As just underlined also with the question with the whip cable. So for example, whip cable is also a cable harness, and harnessing means that we have, for us, it means that we have a worldwide global business unit, which is called HCS. It's the Hating Customized Solutions. So that's the short term is HCS. And we have our assembly lines and factories in many locations all over the world. So just to mention, of course, in Europe, in Germany, but we have in Europe many others. We have in Americas, in Mexico, or in the US. We have in Asia, in China, and many other locations as well. So those guys working there in these factories are preparing these cable solutions. So they have very straightforward and clear specification from the customer, and we do this job for the customer. Means the customer themselves, they don't have to make it in-house, and be very flexible. We take this flexibility and we provide the cable solutions together with the connector, of course. And just mentioned in my presentation, and underline again, these are all pre-tested. These are working already and plug and play on the spot. So yeah, we have a worldwide network of customized solutions. Customized solutions is as we talk about, just probably mention that we are doing many other things as well. We do distribution boxes, we do very special systems, or this kind of power team systems as example, but we do cable harness and special solutions also for data, also for fiber optics. So it's a wide range of operation. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Andreas. 네, 자, 이것으로 이제 저희가 오늘 하팅 코리아 데이터 센터 웹 세미나에 준비한 내용은 마지막입니다. 그래서 하팅 코리아 데이터 센터 웹 세미나를 마치도록 하겠고요. 그 질문과 답변은 저희가 정리를 해서 그 웹사이트에 게시할 예정입니다. 그래서 저희 데이터 센터 관련 웹사이트에 업데이트 사항을 체크해 주시면 도움이 될 것이라고 확신합니다. 혹시 그 오늘 웹 세미나 하는 동안 저희가 전달드린 내용이 이해가 좀 부족한 부분이 있거나 아니면 이 부분은 좀 더 자세히 알고 싶다 하는 그런 부분이 있으면 저희에게 꼭 연락을 부탁드립니다. 보다 상세한 설명을 저희가 전달드리도록 하겠습니다.
그 참고로 지금 그 동시 통역을 저희가 준비했는데요. 그 동시 통역하는 과정에 저희도 이제 양쪽을 들어봤는데 하여튼 뭐 다 100% 전달이 안 되는 부분도 있으니까 하여튼 문의를 주시면 저희가 자세하게 설명을 해드릴 것입니다.
예, 그리고 그 퇴장을 하실 때 아주 간단한 설문조사도 있습니다. 그래서 설문조사에도 참여해 주시면 저희가 매우 감사드리겠습니다. 바쁘신 와중에 하팅 코리아 데이터 센터 웹 세미나에 참석해 주신 모든 여러분 감사합니다.
감사합니다.
Goodbye.
Thank you. Bye bye.